Hello everyone, I'm Evan, aka Epic. I'm a Baptiste one trick. I'm a Baptiste main, and today I'm going to show you my 2023 comprehensive Grandmaster's Guide to playing Baptiste. Baptiste, we usually just call him Bap, is the 30th Overwatch hero released in March of 2019. He excels in both healing and damage, and is considered by most to be a main support. Now, what does this mean? Well, what it really means is that he puts out a lot of healing. He can put out a lot more healing than most of the other supports. I'll discuss main and off healers later in this video, along with supports that work well with Baptiste, but for right now, we're just going to go into his kit. The Bionic Launcher's primary fire shoots 3-round bursts of damage to enemies. You have 45 rounds of damage, which is an equivalent of 15 bursts. Each round deals a base damage of 25. The damage from Bap's Bionic Launcher has a fall-off range of 25 to 45 meters. Basically, what that means is the damage you deal from yourself up until 25 meters away, it's going to be the same, that entire window. From 25 to 45, it gradually gets lower, and then from 45 up until infinity, it's the same. What this means is that Bap excels at damaging enemies that are close to mid-range. Bap's Bionic Launcher damage is also hit scan, which means it has 0 travel time. If your crosshair is on the enemy when you press your primary fire, the enemy will take damage. Hit scan allows heroes like Baptiste to take down flyers, such as Pharah and Echo, with ease compared to non-hit scan heroes. Another important feature of Bap's primary fire is the recoil. This means that as Bap fires, your crosshair will drift upwards. He also has automatic recoil recovery compensation. This means that after drifting upwards, your crosshair will then drift back down to where it started. So, if you aren't doing anything, you just hold down right click, it goes up and then it goes back down. It goes up and it goes back down. You can mess with these settings in options, controls, change your hero Baptiste, change recoil, recovery, aim compensation. I like to keep this setting on because I think it's nice, but it's really up to personal preference. One of the most important things to learn, in my opinion, on Baptiste is recoil control. If you play Soldier, the same thing applies for him. You want to be able to hit all of your shots on your enemy. Recoil control is basically moving your mouse down at the same rate as the recoil, so your crosshair stays in the same location. This takes a lot of skill, and this is one of the reasons Bap has both a high skill ceiling and a skill floor. Here's an example of me shooting at a faraway bot without recoil control. It takes a while to die because I'm not hitting all of my shots. Now, here's another example of me shooting at the same bot, but using recoil control. I'm able to burn down the bot much quicker because every single round hits the bot's head. I find my mouse constantly drifting towards the bottom edge of my mousepad. Here's some footage showing exactly what I mean. Instead of letting your mouse stay on the edge of your mousepad and losing control of the recoil, simply pick your mouse up and put it back. Instead of moving it to the center of the mousepad, I actually move it towards the top, so I don't have to pick it up as often. You might also notice I use my right mouse button as my primary fire. You can adjust your keybinds in the weapons and abilities setting. Which button to use for primary fire and secondary fire is completely up to personal preference. The reason I swapped mine on Bap is to match with my Moira and no Lifeweaver. Also, one last thing when doing damage as Baptiste, you'll notice in the video, this time-lapse video, I'm pressing the mouse button down every single time I shoot a burst. This is a little bit tiring for your finger, but it's worth it. It gives you better control over your aim. Baptiste's secondary fire shoots healing grenades. You You have 13 grenades, and these grenades deal splash healing in a radius of 3 meters. These only heal teammates and cannot be used to heal yourself. You can heal multiple teammates at the same time as long as they are inside this radius. Each teammate will receive 50 healing, but there is a caveat. If you hit a teammate directly with a grenade, they'll receive an extra 20 healing. This means you usually want to hit allies directly whenever possible. There are 2 important interactions to keep in mind when you're using these healing grenades. The first is that enemy shields can block them. For example, if you're outside of an enemy monkey bubble and your ally is inside, you won't be able to heal them from the outside. Either you'll have to walk into the monkey bubble or they'll have to walk out because the bubble blocks your healing grenades. The second interaction is D.Va's defense matrix. An enemy D.Va can use defense matrix to eat your healing grenade. Oftentimes, when you're in a team fight and your tank is low on health, an enemy D.Va, if they're good and they know what they're doing, is going to eat your grenades while the team finishes off your tank. When playing Baptiste, you need to be doing healing and damage most of the time in order to maximize your value. You can do this by doing what I call weaving your damage with your nades. Notice that if you hold down alternate fire, there's a pretty long time between each nade. In order to maximize damage, you want to shoot 2 bursts of damage between each healing nade. And notice there's a sort of rhythm to it, shoot, shoot, heal, shoot, shoot, heal. This is the ideal 2 damage to 1 heal rhythm that you're going to want to shoot at as much as possible. If you feel the need to prioritize healing or save on damage ammo, you can also use a 1 damage to 1 heal ratio. You can also just do whatever you want, it's up to you. But if you want to maximize healing and damage at the same time, do 2 damage for every 1 heal. The Exo Boots are unique to Baptiste. To put it simply, you can crouch to charge the boots and jump to release them. This allows you to easily gain high ground advantage and jump to places other heroes can't reach. The Exo Boots can be a useful tool for strafing. One thing I like to do is fake out of jumps. You can crouch to charge up the boots, and then crouch again very quickly and jump to a normal height. The boots are also good for jumping over tanks, especially Reinhardt. He's swinging around, he's a melee hero. If you jump over him, it's much harder for him to target you. If you're in overtime and you jump with full charge over the payload, you can C9. You won't be contesting the payload anymore. Here's a clip of me doing that. You'll stop contesting the payload for long enough for the timer to end, and your team's going to hate you for it if you do this. So basically, if you're in overtime and you're on cart duty, and you're the only one on cart duty, don't step on the payload and jump all the way to full charge. Baptiste grenades are not his only form of healing. He also has a regenerative burst. You can use this to heal yourself and allies that are within a 10-meter radius of you. For each target inside the radius, this regenerative burst almost instantly heals 50 HP, then 10 HP per second for 5 seconds afterwards. If your target was within 10 meters of you when you activated this ability, they still receive healing for the 5 seconds, even if they leave your 10-meter radius. Just like the healing grenades, this ability has a caveat. If the target is under half health, which is the same amount of health for a target to be considered critical, you'll see the little red symbol, then the regenerative burst will heal 100 HP and then the regular 10 HP per second for 5 seconds. This is incredibly useful for getting yourself and teammates out of sticky situations. The ability is also good for healing flying characters and allies that are behind you. It cannot heal allies through walls, and just like the healing grenades, it cannot heal allies that are behind enemy shields. Lamp. Lamp is sometimes called Immortality Field. Some say that it is even Baptiste's second ultimate. You throw it like a frisbee, and it'll bounce off walls until it touches the ground. Once it activates, it'll create a 6.5 meter radius around it, not above it, but underneath it and around it. Any teammates, including yourself, cannot die while they're inside this radius. The lamp has 150 health and can be destroyed by the enemy team. Sombra's hack can instantly destroy lamps. If the lamp is not destroyed, it'll automatically self-destruct after 5 seconds. Once the lamp is destroyed, you and your teammates can no longer receive invulnerability. If a target's health is less than 25% and they enter the lamp's radius, they'll be healed up to 25%. If the target's health is over 25%, they can take damage until they reach that 25%. BAP's lamp cannot provide invulnerability if a target is behind a wall. Unlike Baptiste's healing abilities, the invulnerability radius applies to targets that are behind enemy shields. Lamp is best used to keep teammates alive during enemies' high damage ultimate. Think High Noons, Diva Bombs, Pulse Bombs, Blades, Overclock, Visors, Riptires, Gravs, Blizzard. When lamping a Grav, be sure to place the lamp on the edge of the Grav rather than the middle. You get graved, everyone's in there, and you're like, oh no, I need to lamp this so we stay alive. So you just drop lamp, middle of the Grav, and you're like, that's so smart. But no, you want to place the lamp on the edge of the Grav. So like put it to the side of you. Obviously so everyone's still inside the lamp, but so that the lamp isn't in the middle of the Grav. Because when an enemy Zarya grabs your team, everyone's going to be shooting in the middle of the Grav. They're already shooting there, and if you place the lamp in the middle of the Grav, they're just going to shoot that too, probably accidentally, and then you all die still. So it's useless to throw the lamp in the middle of the Grav, throw it on the edge. When possible, place lamps behind corners to protect peeking allies. My last tip for using a lamp is to not fat finger it. This feels obvious, but I've accidentally pressed E so many times and wasted a lamp that could have later won a future team fight. It has a 23-second cooldown and is the second longest cooldown in the game behind Mercy's Res. 23 seconds is a long cooldown. Usually you'll only be able to use one lamp for a team fight, but make sure you're using it wisely and intentionally. Lamp cooldowns reset after you die. So if you think you're going to die, but you don't waste lamp, that's a bad idea. Use the lamp, save yourself, and even if you do still die, you respawn and you have lamp again. So don't be afraid to use lamps if you're in danger. Now, you cannot put lamp on robots. You also cannot put the lamp on payloads. You whip up my appetite. This is Baptiste's real ultimate. If you look at Bap's hero details and read the description, Blizzard tells us that it doubles the damage and healing effects of allied projectiles. This is wrong. Blizzard has lied to you. Window does not double the damage of healing projectiles that pass through it. It actually only adds 100% to the projectile. Now you're probably saying, Evan, that doesn't make sense. That's the same thing. If you add 100% to 100%, that's double, right? You get 200%. And you're right. If you have a window and you shoot damage, then it's 200% of the original damage. But once you include other things like nano, mercy damage boost, it's different. The projectile is not doubled. For example, if a player is being damage boosted by mercy, the player's projectiles will gain a 30% damage boost. This puts the projectile at 130% damage total. If the damage boosted projectile passes through Bap's window, it will not double it, but it will add 100%. So this leaves the projectile at 230% damage, not 260. If you're wondering what projectiles the window amplifies, it basically amplifies hit scan bullets and any moving object. This includes Ash's dynamite and actually May's blizzard. This also includes Moira orbs, however, it does not affect the total healing or damage, it only affects the orb's rate of healing or damage. For example, if you don't know, Moira's orbs, they have 200 damage stored in them if you're doing damage orb, or 300 healing if you're doing a healing orb. So, if you're a Moira, don't be a DPS Moira. Healing orbs objectively have more value than damage orbs. And the damage orb does 50 healing per second. The healing orb does 65 healing per second. So if you put it through a window, it's not going to gain any more damage or healing. It's going to increase the rate. So it goes to 100 damage per second or 130 healing per second. Keep in mind that beams, melee attacks, hog hooks, or Briggs Whipshot are not amplified by Baptiste's window. Windows last for 10 seconds and have an ultimate cost of 2,310. If Sombra EMPs a window, it'll disappear. Remember that. You don't want a window if you know the enemy Sombra is competent and has EMP. Hold on to your window until Sombra has already used her EMP. When it comes to using your window, there are usually two types of windows. The first is an offensive window, and the second is a defensive window. An offensive window is usually used to make space. Your team's amplified damage should force the enemy team to either die or back up. If the enemy team backs up and yours pushes, use the window to amplify your healing on them. So you place a window, your team shoots damage through it, and then they walk past the window, and then you can shoot healing into them, so you double the healing onto them. So that's how you usually want to use windows. Sometimes you want to use your lamp to keep everyone alive while you only do damage through your window to secure kills. So sometimes I want to place a greedy window. I will usually lamp on myself and then place down the window so that I can deal damage and so that my teammates don't die while I'm dealing damage and so I don't die. Because what you really don't want to do is place a window and then just die and it's wasted and you don't get to use it, especially if it's only you and your teammates aren't around. A vital window interaction involves Reinhardt's Fire Strike. You'll usually want to coordinate a window Fire Strike combo with your Reinhardt. Usually count down by saying something like, let's window Fire Strike combo in 3, 2, 1. Window Fire Strike, 3, 2, 1. I place the window slightly before the Fire Strike goes through it. It should take the enemy by surprise if you do it fast enough. Fire Strike's base damage is 100. After being amplified, it's not doubled, but you add 100% damage to that. That will deal 200 damage, which is enough to kill most squishies. It's extremely dangerous, and you might as well do it if you have a Reinhardt and a Baptiste on your team. In a match, your main healer is the support player that provides most healing during team fights. Some people will call them flex supports because they flex between damage, utility, and healing, and some will be off supports, which do main healing. But I usually call them main healers or main supports, or off healers and off supports, while main healers provide most the healing. That's the terms I'm using in this video. So usually, Ana, Baptiste, and Moira are main supports. Brig, Lucio, and Zen are usually off healers. Mercy, Kiriko, Lifeweaver now usually fall someplace in between. They're able to act as a main healer or an off healer. Basically, to be a main healer, you need to be able to sustain your team during a heavy team fight, and Baptiste can do that. Baptiste offers a ton of healing if you're doing it right. Usually you want one main healer on your team. Because Baptiste is a main healer, he can be played reasonably in almost every situation. You can have two main healers. You can run Bap Ana if you want. That works. You might have to focus more on damage because the Ana is going to be taking care of most of the healing. Baptiste's infamous support duo is Zen. Zenyatta's Discord Orb combined with Baptiste's high damage output makes for a dangerous duo. You'll usually want to play Bap Zen with poke heroes such as Sigma, Hog, and Hanzo. You can get away with playing Ball with Bap Zen if the Zen keeps the healing orb on the ball. Another great duo for Baptiste is Lucio. If you want to brawl it out, Bap can take care of most of the healing while Lucio speeds the rest of the team. This works best in brawl comps, which typically includes heroes such as Reinhardt, Orisa, Zarya, Ramattra, Mei, and Reaper. One of my favorite support duos for Baptiste is Mercy. Baptiste usually acts as a main healer while Mercy acts as an off healer. The best combo, in my opinion, between Bap and Mercy is lamping reses. If one of your teammates dies, you can coordinate with your Mercy by saying something like, I can lamp if you want to res. So what you'll do is you'll place a lamp on top of where the teammate died. Mercy will go in, res, and they'll stay alive while they're resing. Bap and Mercy work best in poke comps, but can also be played with brawl or hybrid comps. You can certainly try playing dive with Bat Mercy, but you have to hit your healing nades on your tank for it to work, which takes a lot of practice. Hitting a monkey with Baptiste healing nades is certainly tricky. Last but not least, I want to recommend Bap Ana. This duo allows for Baptiste to focus more on dealing damage and act as an off healer. It also allows Bap to reasonably play with dive and flying heroes. The Ana can heal dive tanks such as Ball and Doomfist, as well as flying heroes such as Far and Echo. Another benefit of running both main healers is that one of them can switch to Brig if the enemy team is playing dive. Ideally, the Baptiste will switch to Brig to counter a Ball that is harassing your backline, as Ana Brig is a great duo. If you're running Bap and Ana, and they have a Ball, one of you should certainly switch to Brig, in my opinion. I play a lot of Brig because I think Ana Brig is a really, really, really good counter dive backline. An ultimate combination is simply using 2 or more ultimates in attempts to provide more value. Think Nano Blades, Grav Dragons. When it comes to Baptiste, I recommend Window Visor. This is my favorite ult combo because Soldier is usually pretty stationary when ulting. He can stay behind your window and rack up tons of eliminations. As far as ult combos go, in my humble opinion, this is the only major ult combo for Baptiste. You can certainly use Window at the same time as other ultimates to build momentum, but none of them are as inherently synergistic as Window Visor. If a Mei walls you or an ally off, simply jump on top of the Mei wall. This will give you an advantageous high ground and will allow you to escape or heal walled off allies. It's something I have found is able to provide a little extra value. These artillery nades, for lack of a better term, are healing nades I shoot up into the sky. Sometimes before team fights, I'll shoot them almost directly above me because they take some time to fall back down to provide a little more healing during a team fight. So nades falling from the sky while you're shooting your normal nades into the team. The other scenario I use artillery nades is when I'm on cart duty. Basically, cart duty is when your team has control of the payload, but the team wants to push up to create space. You keep someone behind, that's usually a support. Don't put Mercy on the payload because she can't really do anything, but Bap, Ana, they can do stuff from far away. And one of the main things they can do is shoot these nades. If you're a Baptiste, shoot these nades into the sky. Think you're on the cart here, your team's over here, like way over. It's a lot of space. You can shoot your nades up into the sky and hit them from very far away. Widow is a pretty good counter to Baptiste just because Baptiste is usually in the air. He has that verticality, which is good for getting high ground. However, when you jump, it provides a very predictable path. It makes it really easy to hit, especially if you're hit scan. So if you know the enemy team has a Widowmaker, you need to be really, really careful about jumping. I usually just kind of stop jumping around and you just play on the ground and play around corners. You don't want to pick the Widow's Baptiste. The Widow can very, very easily pick you. If you need a lamp really fast, it takes a little bit of time to deploy, but if you want to do it really fast, just look straight down and place the lamp. That's the shortest amount of time from you to the ground is directly down. Just look down, place it, and it'll be up almost instantly. If you need a really quick lamp,